In Fort Smith responding to a structure fire at a liquor store. The latest on the damages and what we're learning from officials. Plus, a clash in court between the Trump administration and a judge over the man mistakenly deported to El Salvador, where the case stands just ahead.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News at Noon.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for your 5 News at Noon. I'm Rachel Williams here with meteorologist Stephen Elmore. This is our first show together in like a month. I almost forgot he worked here.
The team's back together. Weekend evenings at the noon.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. How's the weather looking?
Weather's looking fine. Nice out there right now. Plenty of sunshine. Nice day today once again. This morning had a few spotty showers across the river valley. Since then, we've gained a lot of sunshine. It's getting warmer out there as well. Winds picking up this afternoon will help that out. Daytime highs today more than likely reaching up into the 70s for everybody. Right now, still seeing those daytime highs, those current temperatures anywhere between those upper 60s, low 70s as we just get past noon for today. Current temperatures out there right now, 68 there in Bentonville, 65 there in Huntsville, 67 there in Van Buren, 71 in Fort Smith, our warm spot there, 73 there in Poteau this afternoon. Overall, nice day today. Not much to complain about. Lots of sunshine. Now, over the next couple of days, really the headline's going to be is those strong winds outside. Tomorrow, we're going to have those wind gusts in excess of 30 miles per hour throughout the day. And that's going to help boost our afternoon highs. But if you're spending a lot of time outside, it can get annoying very quickly. Windy out there today. Those sustained winds, right around 10 miles per hour out there right now. Now, by the time we get to this afternoon, maybe seeing those wind gusts peaking up near 20 miles per hour. Outside of that, not much else to complain about. Warming trend continues over the next couple of days, back up into those 80s by the time we get to tomorrow. Those strong winds, though, going to be the headline at least for Thursday and Friday. Now, going into your Easter weekend, Friday night into Saturday morning, that's going to be at least that first chance for some storms back into the forecast, but also that flooding concern starts to come back as well. We're going to pick up anywhere between 2 up to 4 inches of rainfall through your Easter weekend, and the storm chance is also possible going into our Easter Sunday. You take a look at that rain forecast Friday night into Saturday. Again, that's that first chance for some rain, and throughout most of the day on Saturday and going into Easter Sunday morning, that's where we're going to have some rain back into the forecast. We'll talk about it in detail coming up in just a bit.
All right, Stephen, thanks. Fort Smith crews are responding after a structure fire this morning at the Shamrock Liquor warehouse on Midland Boulevard. The fire is out now, but it caused significant damage inside the warehouse along with traffic delays throughout the morning. Officials first got reports of the fire around 5 this morning and are reporting much of that damage comes from the fire on the drive-through side of the building, with the main fire inside of the store.
There was 5 pumpers and 2 ladders and 1 rescue truck. So there's 8 companies here and 2 battalion chiefs were here this morning. So around 25 personnel were on scene to get the fire under control.
Crews were able to put out that fire within 15 minutes of arriving. No injuries were reported. Officials are still investigating to learn more about the cause of the fire. A Democratic senator from Maryland is on his way to El Salvador in hopes of visiting the man mistakenly deported to that country and held in prison there. As Natalie Brand reports, a federal judge said she has seen no evidence that the Trump administration is complying with the Supreme Court order on the case.
This is about the rule of law. This is about due process.
Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland left for El Salvador this morning, where he hopes to speak to government officials about Kilmer Abrego Garcia, mistakenly deported last month.
We are not going to stop fighting for his return until he is actually released.
Administration attorneys say they would facilitate Abrego Garcia's return as the Supreme Court ordered, but maintain it's up to El Salvador to release him. And officials say if he is returned, he will face deportation again.
If somehow he comes back and that happens, he's going to be detained and removed again.
The administration continues to say Abrego Garcia is an MS-13 gang member based on allegations from a confidential informant. His attorney and family dispute it.
Our family is torn apart during this scary time, and our children miss their dad so much.
In a separate high-profile case, CBS News was there as federal agents took green card holder and Palestinian activist Mohsen Madawi into custody during a citizenship appointment. Attorneys for the Columbia University student told CBS News that federal agents cited a rarely used law allowing deportations if the Secretary of State decides someone poses adverse foreign policy consequences for the U.S.
I want people to know that my compassion extended beyond the Palestinian people. My compassion is also for the Jewish people and for the Israelis as well.
Madawi's attorney is petitioning for his release, saying he's being punished for protected speech. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
The University of Arkansas's Workers Union is reacting after several international students had their visas revoked by the Department of Homeland Security. The university confirmed last week 5 students had their visas terminated. They were among about 13 international students. The union released this statement to 5 News condemning the decision, saying it denied the students due process. They're asking DHS to provide evidence they committed a crime and the opportunity to present their defense in court. You can read the full resolution on our website, 5newsonline.com. Well, former President Joe Biden is returning to the national stage in his first major public appearance since leaving the White House. During his Chicago speech on Tuesday, the former president warned that President Trump and congressional Republicans are gutting Social Security.
73 million Americans receive Social Security. From their first paycheck through their entire life, they pay into Social Security. And in return, they count on Social Security to be for them when they're going to need it.
The agency has also cut at least 7,000 jobs, reducing response times both online and by phone. Biden's comments mark the first time he has explicitly attacked the new president and his administration since he left office. Even though a spending bill that would allocate money to build a 3,000-bed prison in Franklin County failed 5 times and won't be heard again this year, the state is still moving forward with that project. The Board of Corrections talked about hiring an architect for the project using money already set aside. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer has details from that meeting.
We've already given the prison $75 million and permission to spend it, so we'll continue with architecture and engineering plans.
This comes as a Senate bill that would have allocated $750 million to the project failed to get the required 3/4 majority vote 5 separate times in the Senate. Last week, State Senator Bart Hester said he doesn't plan to hold another vote for the bill for the remainder of the session. At a Board of Corrections meeting, they voted to select an architect for a new state prison.
The Architect Selection Committee recommends HDR Cromwell as the design professional for the prison project in Franklin County. They were able to answer our questions clearly. They were able to answer questions off cue. Cromwell has 150 plus employees, and they're actually based out of Arkansas. And so there is a personal connection to the state there.
Chairman Betty Magnus advocated for changing the wording to a new prison building rather than having a location.
For a new prison, regardless where it goes. And then if you want to say Franklin County, you know, we've already put an architect in charge of doing the Calico Rock, then it got pulled. And so that's why I'm wondering if we just should say architect for a new prison in case something was to ever happen. We don't have to come back through this process.
Covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
Plans for a new housing development in Fayetteville fails as it went before the city's planning commission. They rejected the plan after looking at a study confirming the traffic impact in downtown Fayetteville. The building would have provided more than 600 units catered to U of A students and young professionals. We spoke with the university about how they plan to accommodate its growing student population.
We're in the design and development phase of building a new residence hall. And that's going to be about 700 plus new beds that are going to be, for those of you who know campus a little bit, near Maple Hill.
The new housing will be ready in 2028. It will be the second dorm building built in the last 10 years. The Fort Smith School Board approved a $225,000 a year contract for newly appointed Superintendent Marty Mahan. That will start July 1st. Mahan was selected last week to replace Dr. Terry Morawski. The board also appointed Mahan as acting superintendent for the rest of this school year. Meanwhile, the University of Arkansas is celebrating the opening of a new research facility. It's called the Institute for Integrative and Innovative Research. And located at the intersection of Dixon Street and Duncan Avenue, the new research center will bring together students and researchers from all sorts of academic sectors to work on collaborative projects.
Not so much a classroom building like you would think of a traditional classroom building, but it is experiential learning and active hands-on learning that students get through doing research, innovation, product development, design thinking, all of that comes to them.
The U of A says they designed the building to reflect the character and landscape of the Ozarks. Today, we are just one step closer to getting the first Buc-ee's in the state of Arkansas. A groundbreaking ceremony is happening this afternoon for the new location in Benton. That ceremony will be happening at 2. We will be live streaming the event on 5+.